Hey boys and girls, and welcome to Bedtime Bible Stories here at Valley View Baptist Church. Tonight we're going to step into the kitchen with Miss Becki Elgin.
Hey boys and girls, it's good to be with you tonight. I'm going to be teaching you another truth from the Bible, and we have lots of yummy things here in front of me to talk about. How many of you like chocolate cake? Ooh, I love chocolate cake. It's the best cake ever. Well, I have a big yummy chocolate cake sitting right here. We're going to talk about that today. Does anybody know what goes into a chocolate cake to make it yummy? There's lots of different ingredients, and I have some of them right here for me. There's some cocoa to make it chocolatey, and there's some flour to make it rise so it's not flat. There's some sugar to make it sweet, and then we have an egg. Crack it here so we have it open. How many of you like eating raw eggs? Anybody like eating raw eggs? Yuck. Some of these ingredients are yummy and some of them are yucky. Who would love to taste a big scoop of cocoa? I'm gonna taste it and see if it's yucky. You think it is? Oh, it's so bitter. Not good. It's yucky. What about this flour? Let's see what it tastes like. Ooh, not good either. Who thinks I should taste this raw egg? And now I think I'm gonna do that. I don't think it would be good. Do you? There's lots of things that are yucky up here, but there's one thing that's super sweet. How many of you would eat a scoop of sugar if I let you? Oh, that's so much better than the rest of the ingredients. Well, did you know that our life is a lot like a chocolate cake? Sometimes we have not so fun things. Maybe they're bitter. Maybe they're boring. Maybe they're sad. Not so good things, but sometimes we have things that are super sweet. And the Bible talks about this. I want to read you a verse that talks about this. It's in Romans chapter 8, verse 28. It says, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." I want to look at the very first part of that verse. It says, "And we know that all things work together for good." So if we were going to make a chocolate cake, we would have to have all these things, wouldn't we? We'd have to have the yucky things and the yummy sugar to make it good. Just like in our life, sometimes we have bad things that happen to us. Maybe you fell down and scraped your knee. That's not a fun thing to go through. Or maybe you didn't get to go play with your friends. Or maybe you didn't get to go to church because, all this virus stuff, we can't go to church, and that's no fun. But you know what? God says that he's going to work out all these things for good in our life. And I'm excited to see the good that he'll use in your life. But also, we have fun things in our life. We get to do birthday celebrations. I know some of you got to have 2 birthdays because you had to have one with your family and then one with your grandma and your grandpa. And then maybe you had a new brother or a new sister born into your family. That's a fun thing. Or you got to go on a vacation, or you got to eat your favorite meal. Oh, those are all fun things we get to do in life. Some of the ingredients by themselves don't taste very good, but they make a delicious cake. So some of our ingredients in our life aren't very fun, don't feel very great, but they make a beautiful life at the end. And that's what God tells us he will do with our lives. Let's think about some people in the Bible that might have had some hard things happen in their life, and then their life became beautiful. What about Joseph? Ooh, he had a hard life at the beginning, didn't he? But God used it for good in the end because he got to save people from a famine, from not having any food. Or what about Esther? She had a kind of a hard life. She had a scary thing she had to do to go before the queen, before the king, but she did it, and she saved her people from dying. So that was a hard thing in her life, but God made it for good. Not all things in our life are good. But in God's hands, they can be mixed and blended along with the good into beautiful creation. It's during the bad times that we see how big our God is, how beautiful he is, how wonderful he is to us. And if we didn't have those bad times, we might not know or be able to see how good he is. Even though the ingredients do not taste good alone, like I just demonstrated, they're necessary for our cake to be good and yummy. God is able to blend our good and the bad experiences in our life for good. Again, I want to read this verse for you. And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. All together, these things create a beautiful cake. And all together, our life, the good and the bad, create a beautiful life that God's given us. Good night, boys and girls.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Becki, for that wonderful lesson. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys Thursday. Good night.